Welcome to Cut the COVID Crap Part 55, fact checking the Thai study and the origin of the virus. I'm wearing the t shirt just because I think it's good to be nice to people, and even if people are not nice to you, you can do a mental game to make it more bearable for yourself and to respond positively rather than uh, diverting. Anyway, I want to get back about Thai study that I published last week, the fact checking about it, and something else, the origin of the virus. The origin of the virus has been hotly discussed for many months. Does it come uh, from the animal market, or does it come from the lab leak, intended or not? Um, there's many articles on it and many podcasts about it. I found this one particularly insightful. It's in the link below. Um, it is um, RFK Jr. who interviews Jeffrey Sachs. In case you don't know, RFK Jr. is family of the famous JFK. Um, he's an advocate against vaccination. I believe he's vaccine injured himself. Um, I find it a bit hard to listen to him in general because he's so anti anti-vaccination that I find his reasoning sometimes a bit biased. Anyway, it's okay to listen to different sources. I think pro and con to form your own opinion. Um, and he also talks a bit like a very old stubborn man. So I have a hard time listening to him. But this particular interview, despite the way he talks, it's I gotta say it's very good because the guest he interviewed, again Jeffrey Sachs, it's all in the link below, obviously. Um, Jeffrey Sachs is the chair of the Lancet COVID-19 Commission, I'll quote literally, which has been created to help speed up global, equitable, and lasting solutions to the pandemic. And the Lancet is a weekly peer-reviewed general medical journal. It's one of the most famous medical journals. If you listen to this interview and it's 54 minutes long, you get quite a lot of detail on how the Jeffrey Sachs, the chairperson, how his own opinion changed based on what he saw, and you saw the influences of different people. I find it the most interesting podcast or article for that matter that I've listened to or read. So um, have a listen to it yourself if you like, and form your own opinion as usual. Okay, back to the Thai study that I discussed last week. Um, the I wanted to see how, especially the mainstream response to that Thai study, because I think it's you could say it's only 2% that had a serious myocarditis or pericarditis or myopericarditis or suspected myopericarditis issue, but and they all recovered in the end. But yeah, there's what do you know about the long-term effects of something that happened so recently? Um, and I would, from what I hear from cardiologists, they say myocarditis or pericarditis in young children is serious no matter what, because it shouldn't happen. Basically, it's strange that it happens in the first place. And even though they recover and maybe discharged from hospital, there can still be long-term effects. The heart may very well be weaker for decades to come. So I don't want to be alarmist, but yeah, I find a 2% rate. I mean, taking a 2% risk for something that is essential, it's fair enough. In my opinion, and what is essential, it's up to yourself to decide. But if you have every couple of months you have to take this shot, every couple of months you take a 2% risk. That's, I mean, is that significant or is that significant? Anyway, so I looked at the fact checks. So I just Googled the Thai study on vaccinations, and then uh, I found very quickly you'll find two fact checks, one by Reuters, and one by AP, Associated Press. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Reuters one. Fact check study of Thai teenagers did not find one third expected experienced heart effects after COVID vaccination. Um, they cite in their fact check and claim that that it's false, and maybe that percentage that is quoted um, is you could argue it's false because like the majority of the 30% that had um, uh, heart related issues can be just a faster heart rate, which you could consider not serious until it's really fast and it's too late. But anyway, you can argue about if the 30% applies to something that is serious enough. Anyway, the fact check, as usual, goes along with the narrative. But I still find it interesting to look at the arguments that they're using, because they're quoting one particular um, uh, what is this source? Science-based medicine. A particular is he cardiologist? The author Frank Hahn is an academic board certified pediatrician, uh, pediatric cardiologist. So heart and children. So he's in that area. So he says his conclusion is, in the end, to the trained observer, there are no shocking findings in this study. Overall, it supports the current body of knowledge regarding COVID vaccination and myocarditis. I find that strange. I mean, I think, from what I've seen, but do your own research, the vast majority of cardiologists would agree that if you have myocarditis as a young child, um, that is strange in itself. Even if you recover, you should never think it's like done and over with. I'm not a cardiologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm just one of the people, like many of you. You have to decide for your own children what to do with your children, despite not knowing the not having the direct knowledge. But like, if 2%, if there's a 2% chance that your child after the second vaccination gets myocarditis, or even if he doesn't have symptoms, but like the biomarkers show that there's suspected myocarditis, yeah, form your own opinion. But to me, that seems that seems a lot, and most cardiologists would say that you should never think it's not serious. Basically, even if they recover directly, the long-term effects is are you should consider them as something to take serious. Um, so yeah, I guess what Reuters does is they find one particular source that goes with the narrative, quotes them, and then based on that they say their conclusion is false. Um, anyway, that's Reuters, and then you got AP as well, Associated Press. claim. A new study found cardiovascular adverse effects in a third of teens who received the second dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, casting doubt on its safety. AP's assessment missing context. Also in this one, um, they um, they go with, you know, um, everybody recovered in the end and no problem. Um, and then they quote different sources like the National Institute of Health that only 2 people out of 100,000 who receive either the Pfizer or the Moderna COVID-19 vaccines will develop myocarditis as a result. So this study shows that 2% gets myocarditis or suspected myocarditis. And the good thing about this study is that it's prospective. Basically, they measured before and after, and they really have biomarkers. They really see that some measures are not normal before and after. And you could say like, you want to test with placebo as well, but that's to me the main thing. If you see that 2% have this, like 2% rather than two out of 100,000, it's 2 out of 100. So they report a rate of 1,000 times higher. You know what? Maybe there's something wrong with that with the Thai study. But if you see this, that with a prospective study of only 300, you get these results, then as a policymaker, you should take it seriously and do the very same prospective study. And you know what? Do a placebo as well. Do a study of 300 and do take another 300 with placebo and see what you get. And rather than saying ignoring this study, which shows 1,000 times higher rate of myocarditis or suspected myocarditis than the National Institute of Health, rather than dismissing it and quoting that National Institute of Health proclamation, um, isn't it appalling that nobody takes initiative seeing this to actually say like, hey, you know what? This is alarming, but we're not 100% sure. Let's make an even better study than this Thai study, and then we'll know for sure. No, it's going to be dismissed, referring to other other studies that show that show that it's not that bad. I mean, that response in itself, that to me is more important than the content of this study. But anyway, as usual, form your own opinion. But um, if you see the study and you have your own opinion, look at how both the pro-vaccination and con-vaccination sides respond to it, and that will give a lot of color on um, whether the arguments are valid to you or not. I think enjoy doing your own research and be nice to people even if they don't agree with you. See you next time.